أهلا وسهلا فيكم متابعينا بسلسلة من الحلقات اللي عم نحكي فيها مع أهالي مختطفين إسرائيليين لا زالوا محتجزين رهائن لدى حماس. اليوم رح نحكي مع ميخال ليفي شقيق الشاب ليفي اللي تم اختطافه من حفلة نوفا الموسيقية من قبل حماس، شاهد مقتل زوجته عيناف على يد حماس أمام عيونه قبل اختطافه بهداك اليوم المشؤوم. رح نحكي مع ميخال عن كيفية تأقلم العائلة مع هذه الكارثة والجهود المستمرة لإعادة إلى بيته وإلى ابنه، لأنه كان عندهم ابنه الصغير عندهم يا موجود عم بيعتني فيه جداه الكبيران في السن اسمه الموغ، وعن الجهود اللي عم بيحاولوا يعملوها لحتى يرجع ويتوحد مع عائلته مع ابنه اللي بحاجة ليكون جنب أبوه ويكبر جنبه. خليكم معنا بهذا اللقاء. Thank you so much for joining us today, Michal.
You.
Can you start by telling us a little bit more about and about him as a person and how he was as a brother, as a husband, as a father? Tell us a little bit more about him.
Yeah, I keep telling the story that always the genius of the family. He taught himself everything. He taught himself to program, and he's now a senior computer engineer who is happy, always surrounded by friends, always smiling. He's also a family man. He loved Éinaf and الموغ. Moog is his whole life. He always talks about him, wants to be around him, and just the thought of him separated from Moog is heartbreaking for me.
And I wanted to recap just so our audience know about who was married to Éinaf, and they have a son, his name is Moog. They were attending and his wife Éinaf were attending the Nova Music Festival. And during that Nova Music Festival, the attack by Hamas happened on October 7th. Éinaf was murdered on that day, and was kidnapped, and he is still held hostage by Hamas today, while Moog is being taken care of by the grandparents, right?
Right. Yeah, Éinaf was unfortunately murdered in front of all's eyes, we just released a video of the abduction, and you can see that all is covered in her blood. So,
of course, and I can only imagine how it's been for you and your family dealing with this tragedy.
It's been a nightmare. Trying to wake up every morning, keep going. For us, it's everything is all this time, it feels like a very bad and very long day.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit more, Michal, about the October 7th. How did you guys hear of the news? What happened on that day?
We woke up, like most of the people here in Israel, to the sound of sirens. There were missiles flying all over Israel. I immediately called my parents to make sure that they are okay, and they said that I called my mother. She said that they are okay, but that and Éinaf went to the music festival, and she also said that they are heading back. So back at that point, I wasn't too worried, because I thought, okay, it will be a missile attack, but they can hide in a bomb shelter next to the road or something, and it will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they had to run to one of the bomb shelters and hide there, they understood that they are not safe anymore because there were terrorists around.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, a group of few terrorists arrived to this bomb shelter that they were hiding in. and then decided to throw a grenade and sprayed it with bullets. And unfortunately, Éinaf was murdered together with 17 others. And we didn't know what happened to all at first. It took us 8 days to understand that he was kidnapped. And that's it. Since then, we're trying to do everything to get him back and to get all the hostages back.
And how did you hear about Éinaf's murder?
At first, they were missing a few days. And after 4 days, representatives from the army came to Éinaf's parents and told them that they found her body. And that was it.
How was she as a mother, as a wife to your brother? What do you remember of Éinaf?
I remember her smile, mainly. Much like all, she was always smiling, always happy. All loved her more than anything, I think. And will be difficult to recover from it.
Can you describe, now we have الموغ who is being also taken care of by your own parents.
They had to go back and being parents to a baby, basically. For them, they get used to being grandparents now. We are all grown-ups. All is almost 34. So imagine that they had to go back 30 years, 31 years actually.
Yes.
And raise their grandson.
Yes.
It adds to the difficulty. On one hand, it helps them because they have to be happy for him and strong for him.
Yes.
But on the other hand, when you look at him, you cannot forget why he's there. Because his mother was murdered and his father is somewhere dead by monsters in the tunnels of Gaza.
Yes. And he's aware. What do you tell الموغ? Now he is 3 years old.
Yeah, he actually turned 3 almost 2 weeks ago. And we had to tell him that his mom won't come back. And that we are doing everything in our power to bring his father back. He's asking about them. He misses them all the time. And he wants them back.
So I wanted to ask you, Michal, about your family situation today. Now you're still, of course, working tirelessly, trying to get or to be released and freed. Tell us about how you're dealing with this and what are the actions that you're doing and how you're also living through the grief and the uncertainty about the situation.
So for me, it's waking up every morning and thinking, what do I have to do today in order to bring him back? Most days I do this. I interview all over the world. I travel the world. I've been to 10 different countries. I talk to politicians, talk to presidents, to prime ministers, met the Pope. I tell their story everywhere I can. For me, there are 2 main things that I need to do. One is to keep reminding people that there are still hostages in Gaza, 120 hostages, including my brother. I try to show them that they are real people with dreams, and they are not just names or pictures. They have families and they have dreams and they have hopes, and they have a son, all has a son who is waiting for him at home.
Yes.
And the second part is to demand the international community to put more pressure on Qatar, to put pressure on Hamas to release the hostages and sign a deal. And that's what we all aim for. think this is the only way to get them back and end this war.
There's just something that is so painful about the fact that Og and his wife were in a music festival. They were there celebrating, dancing for peace, and that this happened to these young people. What would you like to say to the world as somebody who also, comes from the Middle East, I speak Arabic, I see how Arab media is, but also here in the West, where people are not really talking about the hostages and about the victims who were murdered on that day. What would you say specifically about the Nova Music Festival victims?
I sometimes hear the people describing Hamas terrorists as freedom fighters or fighters. The freedom fighters do not get into a music festival that celebrates peace and love and murder and rape and butcher people just for fun. Just 2 weeks ago, we released a video of Hamas kidnapping all together with 3 other hostages. You can see how those monsters from Hamas are enjoying the grief and suffering of the hostages. They caused so much death, and they are happy. They are happy celebrating killing of innocent people that their only crime was that they wanted to celebrate peace and love. And they only wanted to dance and enjoy life. They didn't do anything wrong. The only crime was that they decided to go to a music festival. People all over the world are doing it. No one is imagining the fact that a group of monsters will just come into your country and do horrible things that the world haven't seen. I think that the world hasn't seen such horrible things even at the Holocaust. And things that I still can't understand how human beings can do, how human beings can be so cruel and enjoy raping innocent women and causing horrible things, murdering babies, burning them alive. Those people are monsters. They didn't care if they were Israelis or Jewish. Outside of those Owen Einav's bomb shelter, they saw a Muslim guy. He spoke to the terrorists in Arabic. They knew he was Muslim. He was Muslim, and they still murdered him. Mm-hmm. They beat him. And then they brutally murdered him. They killed everyone. They don't care about human beings. They don't care about human lives. They don't care about the Palestinians. Mm-hmm. I mean, people think that Palestinians and Hamas terrorists are the same. It's not the same. Mm-hmm. Those monsters don't care about Palestinians. They just want to kill everyone and cause suffering and make the world afraid. Mm-hmm. The world should take a stand against it because it happened here in Israel, but the rest of the world, the rest of the Western world will be next if they won't take a stand against it.
Finally, I wanted to ask you, Michal, if you would like to send a message to Og from this platform.
Just one thing. I want him to be strong. I want him to know that we'll do everything to bring him back. In the meantime, we'll take care of our moghs until he's back.
Thank you so much, Michal, for your time. And prayers and heart is with you and your family and al-moghs, and prayers for the return of Og and the rest of the hostages.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.